Joe Biden became one of the first world leaders to appear at Westminster Hall today as King Charles III met the prime ministers of the 15 realms at Buckingham Palace today. The president and his wife were preceded by other dignitaries, including foreign dignitaries. Dressed in black in accordance with the mourning period, the newly appointed Prime Minister curtsied to the new king as she entered the 1844 room at the sovereign's official residence in London. This audience was quickly followed by a meeting with the prime ministers of the other 14 realms who recognize King Charles III as their head of state. Among the leaders the sovereign met today were James Marape, the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, and Gaston Browne, the Prime Minister of Antigua. The 14 overseas realms also count Canada, led by Justin Trudeau, and New Zealand, whose Prime Minister is Jacinda Ardern. King Charles is to carry out several engagements today. Image, Getty. World leaders, Joe Biden, Dr. Jill Biden and Jane Hartley at the Queen's coffin. Image, PA. World leaders, Queen Letizia of Spain and Alonso Guerrero Perez appeared earlier today. Image, Getty. French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte Macron arrived to pay respect to Elizabeth II. Image, Getty. World leaders, Queen Rania of Jordan arrived to pay her respects this evening. Image, BBC. King Charles III handed 5-point plan with advice on Harry and Meghan's future. Infirm King Charles III has been handed a 5-point manifesto to ensure he kicks off his reign of the United Kingdom in a bold fashion. The 5 points include apologies on behalf of the royal family and letting Harry and Meghan in from the cold. Read more here. Over the past hours, both these leaders were spotted attending the late Queen's lying in state at Westminster Hall, and are expected to attend tomorrow's funeral. Earlier today, Mr. Trudeau also met Ms. Truss at Downing Street. Another Prime Minister of the realms to be present at the funeral will be Australia's Anthony Albanese. Speaking to Sky News Australia, the politician recently paid tribute to the late monarch, saying hers had been a remarkable life. He continued, "A life lived in the service of others, served in the interests of the people of the UK, but also the Commonwealth and the world." The Queen was Australia's first monarch to visit. She visited Australia some 16 times. Read more. Harry and Meghan uninvited to state reception at Buckingham Palace. World leaders, Joe Biden and Dr. Jill Biden followed Emmanuel Macron and his wife. Image, PA. World leaders, Joe Biden appeared on a balcony above other mourners. Image, Sky News. World leaders, the Spanish royals arrived earlier this evening. Image, PA. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at Downing Street. Image, Getty. US President Joe Biden and the First Lady Dr. Jill Biden arriving in the UK. Image, Getty. King Charles and Liz Truss at Buckingham Palace. Image, Getty. She had a great affection for Australians. She was someone who had that affection, and Australians had an affection back to Her Majesty. The new sovereign will only have a few hours of respite after these key audiences. At 6 p.m., King Charles will be meeting once again important guests at Buckingham Palace. This time accompanied by Queen Camilla and other leading members of the firm, Charles will host a reception for heads of state and official overseas guests who have travelled to the UK for the funeral of his mother. Don't miss Sophie Wessex in tears watching brave Louise and James stand vigil. Pix calls for Meghan to be brought back into firm spark fury. Report King Charles looks to change working royals' law on who can stand in. Insight, King Charles is to host a grand reception at 6 p.m. today. Image, PA. King Charles will meet several world leaders today. Image, PA. King Charles meeting James Marape, the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea. Image, PA. King Charles speaking with Gaston Browne, Prime Minister of Antigua. Image, PA. Among them, will be US President Joe Biden and the First Lady Dr. Jill Biden, who landed yesterday evening in the UK. French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte will also be in attendance. The presidential couple is to gift the new king a book of pictures celebrating the Queen's visits to France, French officials said on Sunday. Following the death of the Queen, who last visited France in 2014, Mr. Macron issued a tribute last week saying, "From her coronation on, she knew and spoke with all of our presidents. No other country had the privilege of welcoming her as many times as we did." 2 hours later, the monarch will surely join the country in a poignant minute of silence. People up and down the UK have been invited to mark the occasion privately at home, on their doorstep or street, or at community events and vigils. This heartwarming tribute will come shortly after the BBC will aid a pre-recorded televised tribute by Queen Camilla. King Charles arriving at Buckingham Palace, image, Reuters, speaking with huge affection for her late mother-in-law, Charles' wife said, "I will always remember her smile." She also acknowledged the late Queen has been the only monarch known until these past few days by so many people in Britain. She said, "I can't remember anyone except the Queen being there." More tributes are to be held for the late sovereign ahead of her funeral tomorrow. Near Falkirk, Scotland, will be held at 7:30 p.m. a service of reflection, during which 96 lanterns, one for each year of the late monarch's life, will be lowered into the pool of reflection at the foot of the Queen Elizabeth II Canal. After this, wreaths will be placed into the water. Overnight, people will continue to queue in London to see the Queen's lying in state, with doors at the hall to be closed to the public at 6:30 a.m. tomorrow. However, the admittance to the queue will be closed within hours to make sure everybody who has joined it will be able to pay their tribute to the Queen.